I'm 33, and I think the most disturbing thing about betrayal is how ordinary the room looks when your life changes inside it. The bed is still unmade. The alarm still goes off. There's still laundry in the basket, and coffee in the kitchen, and whatever stupid work email you were supposed to answer that morning. And then one message appears on a screen, and suddenly the whole architecture of your life feels fake. That's what happened to me. At the time, I was still calling her my partner, still sleeping beside her, still making plans around a future that, as it turns out, only one of us was actually living in. Her name is Noelle. She's 33. We were together for almost 7 years. For most of that time, I would have told anyone that we were solid. Not perfect, not effortless, but solid. We had our rough patches, communication problems, long cycles of stress, a period last year where we were circling the same fight so often that we finally started therapy. Not because we hated each other, but because we both seemed exhausted by how much energy it took to keep misunderstanding one another. At least that's what I thought therapy was for. In hindsight, I think I was trying to save something she had already emotionally left. We were both at that weird age where stability starts feeling less like safety and more like a trap if you're not careful. I'm a sound designer. Commercials, post-production, occasional film work if someone remembers I exist. She had just finished a performance and movement degree after years of fighting for it. And suddenly all these exciting opportunities started opening up for her. Residencies, grants, workshops abroad, talk of London, talk of maybe doing distance if the timing got strange, talk of figuring it out, which I've learned is sometimes just a prettier way to say one person already has a foot out the door. Last December, Noelle flew to Morocco for an intensive dance workshop she had wanted to do for years. I was proud of her, genuinely. I had seen how hard she worked, how much she wanted this, how badly she needed a season of her life to feel bigger than recovery, bigger than survival, bigger than the familiar weight of the relationship rut we had both fallen into. When I visited her there in January, things still felt mostly okay. Not romantic movie perfect, just okay. But there were small things that needled at me. Her phone rang often. She stepped away to take calls. She was oddly vague about one person in particular. Once, when the same name called 3 times while we were getting ready to go out, she glanced at the screen and said, "I'll call her back later." Except I happened to see the preview, and her was very much a him. I did not confront her then, partly because I didn't want to sound paranoid, partly because I've been cheated on before, and once that history lives in your body, every reasonable concern starts sounding tainted by the past. You question your instincts because you don't want to become the person who sees ghosts everywhere just because someone once taught you to fear them. Years ago, another girlfriend slept with one of my close friends. The actual betrayal was awful, but the thing that stayed with me was the sensation of knowing before I had proof. The nausea, the strange hyperattention, that inner voice saying, "Something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong." When I started feeling that voice again around Noelle, I hated it. Not because I thought it was definitely wrong, because I was terrified it might be right. In March, she flew back to Morocco with grant money for another project. By then I was uneasy, but not certain. We stayed in touch. She still messaged, still said she missed me, still sounded, at least on the surface, like someone invested enough to maintain the shape of our relationship while she was away. Then she came home different, not glowing, not euphoric, disappointed. She said the whole trip had been lonelier than expected, that she felt like she was mothering everyone, that some people she thought would really show up for her didn't, that she had been made to feel like an afterthought in a place she had imagined would be transformational. I remember feeling relieved hearing all that, because none of it sounded like an affair confession. It sounded like a bad trip and a bruised ego. And I wanted that explanation so badly that I ignored other things that, in retrospect, were screaming. Both times she came back from those trips, she had thrush almost immediately. The second time, she asked me to use a condom right away because she was sorting things out before getting a contraceptive procedure done. Even writing that now makes me want to shake myself, because at the time I accepted it, not because it made sense, because I wanted peace more than clarity. Then came the message. A Tuesday morning. Her alarm went off. She went to the bathroom half asleep. I reached over to turn it off. That's when I saw the preview. I miss you. I love you. My whole body went cold in one movement. The name attached to it was the same man from Morocco, the same one she once referred to as her, the same one my instincts had quietly filed away long before my mind caught up. I wish I had a noble version of what happened next. I do not. The second I heard the bathroom door close, I opened the message thread, then her laptop, then everything else I could get into before she came back. And what I found was not ambiguity. It was a second relationship, not a flirtation, not one bad night, not emotional cheating in the technically debatable, slippery way people sometimes try to minimize. A full relationship. Photos, voice notes, plans, jealousy, late-night affection. Talk about missing each other. Talk about the pain of distance. Talk about their relationship like the word was self-evident. And through all of it, I existed only as a problem to be managed in the margins. A logistical burden. A person she still lived with and still took comfort from, but no longer spoke of like someone fully real. Then came the detail that made it almost grotesque. He had a wife and a daughter. She had found that out while she was there. Not before, not after, during, and the messages after that were full of her hurt, that he had made her feel secondary, that she had felt ignored by him, that she had been lonely because he didn't show up the way she wanted. I sat there reading all of that and genuinely had to put one hand over my mouth, because she had cheated on me with a man who was also cheating on his family. Then come home to my house, my bed, my ordinary devotion, while heartbroken that the man helping her betray me hadn't made her feel special enough. I took screenshots. Everything I could. People get strange about that part. Like evidence somehow makes you petty. But once someone has lied to your face deeply enough, proof starts feeling like oxygen. You don't gather it because you want revenge. You gather it because you can feel your reality slipping and you need something solid enough to hold. Then she came out of the bathroom, hair damp, towel around her shoulders, still sleepy, still normal. She smiled at me and asked if I wanted coffee. And honestly, that smile hurt more than the first message, because it meant she was fully comfortable inside the deception, comfortable enough to offer me coffee while another man's "I love you" was still glowing on her phone, comfortable enough to look me in the face and begin another ordinary morning inside a lie she had clearly been practicing for months. I didn't confront her immediately. I know some people would, but I needed time. Not to plot revenge. To think. I went to work and did almost nothing. I came home early. I made a list. What I would say. What I would not say. What parts of the house were legally mine. What I needed to change if she left. Who needed to know first. Whether to confront her that night or wait until therapy on Thursday. Whether I should warn her brother because I was genuinely close to him. Whether she would get ahead of the story and make me sound unstable if I delayed too long. That is the hidden cruelty of betrayal. It doesn't just break your heart. It turns you strategic. It drags love out of the emotional realm and forces it into logistics. By the time she got home that evening, I had already packed one bag with some of her things and moved the screenshots into a folder on my desktop. She walked in chatting about traffic. Still normal. Still casual. I asked her to sit down. The second I said his name, the blood left her face. Then, like every cliché you've ever heard about cheating, the shape-shifting began. First, she said I misunderstood. Then she said they were emotionally close. Then she said they were just confused. Then she said I had invaded her privacy. Then she cried. Then she said we had been drifting. Then she said she was lonely. Then she said maybe she thought he could be better for her. Then, only when I put screenshots in front of her, the actual truth began crawling its way out in fragments. Friend. Close friend. We kissed. We slept together once. We slept together more than once. I was unsure about us. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't mean for it to get serious. By the time she finally admitted to the affair in anything close to full, I felt weirdly detached, like I was no longer her partner hearing a confession. I was just the poor idiot at the end of a long paper trail, waiting for the liar to catch up to the evidence. She asked if we could wait and talk properly in therapy, that maybe it was too big to handle alone. That almost made me laugh. Too big to handle alone. Apparently not too big to do alone. I told her no. I told her therapy was for repair, not for me to sit across from her while she curated her remorse in front of a professional witness. I told her she had 2 weeks to get everything out. I told her if she tried to paint me as controlling, jealous, or unstable to mutual friends, I would send context to exactly the people who needed it. That was the first moment she seemed actually afraid. Not when I said I knew, when she realized I was done protecting her. After that, everything became weirdly calm. She left to stay with a friend. Her family reached out. I told the people I needed to tell, and the response from almost everyone in my life was so immediate and loving that it made me realize how long I had quietly felt alone in the relationship. Her brother called me crying. Her mother apologized. My friends showed up with food, whiskey, and enough rage on my behalf to make me laugh for the first time in days. And the strangest part? I didn't feel that much hatred. Mostly sadness. And pity, if I'm being honest. Not for what she did to me. For the fact that somewhere along the line, she became the kind of person who could betray someone who loved her and still ask if he wanted coffee afterward. Update 1. She keeps messaging. Mostly practical things. Boxes, keys, furniture. But every practical message has little emotional hooks threaded through it. I feel like I'm missing part of myself. I miss my best friend. I still love you. I know you shouldn't feel sorry for me, but... And maybe she does love me. In whatever damaged way she currently understands love. But I'm learning that someone can love you and still betray you so thoroughly that the love becomes functionally meaningless. Update 2. I skipped therapy. She went alone. Later she messaged saying it helped her understand the damage she caused. Maybe that's true. Maybe it isn't. I'm not interested in becoming the stage for her self-awareness arc. I've changed the locks. Most of her things are gone. The house feels less haunted now. And what I know is this. The hardest part was never deciding to end it. The hardest part was accepting that she had already left long before I saw the message. The message just showed me where she went.